So, welcome back to PopCon. We have a great guest right now. His name is Kelly Yates. He's a graphic designer. He has written his own comic books, and he's going to talk to us about his graphic design artwork for Doctor Who and My Hero Academia, among others. Welcome, Kelly Yates.
Oh, thank you very much. It's great to be here.
So, tell us about a little bit about your journey. How did you become a graphic designer?
Oh my goodness. Well, I like to think about how I got into comic books. And when I was traveling around the country with my grandparents one summer when I was 12 years old, we ended up in Yellowstone Park at the lodge there. And I was not into comic books. I was into MTV and that was it. And there were no TVs in the lodge out there. And I was bored out of my mind. And I went down to the gift shop and there were two comic books on the shelf down there. And I picked them up. And that started my journey into comic books, graphic design, this whole journey and everything. So I'm thankful for that trip. So
So you live here in North Carolina.
I do. I live in Greensboro.
How do you get into comic books without living in one of the major metropolitan areas
Well,
professionally?
it's definitely gotten a lot easier. It used to be, back in the day, you had to send in, mail in stuff to an editor up in New York, and you get your rejection letter, and that seemed to be kind of the format. If a lot of you know Tom McFarlane, he went through the same process, and I think he got 300 rejection letters. So
Wow.
it's amazing how it's just kind of sticking to it. But it has definitely gotten easier over the years with the internet and being able to reach out and because of that, I'm now working with a lot of people in Britain, Titan Entertainment and comics in
Mhm.
particular and everything. But it really has just been a process. For me, it's been going to conventions and meeting people and networking. Meanwhile, just drawing and practicing and getting better. But one of the biggest things for me was going to San Diego Comic Con throughout the years and making the connections with the right people that I needed to make connections with. Um, and specifically speaking to Doctor Who, I've been a longtime Doctor Who fan since the late 70s, early 80s when I discovered Tom Baker on PBS station, just
He is
randomly flipping by, no concept of what it was. What is this? And back then, you didn't have the internet, you couldn't research it. There weren't really so many books you could go figure out or talk to people about it. So it was just kind of this neat thing of figuring out what it was over time. But speaking of how I got involved directly with Doctor Who, when they announced it was coming back on in 2005, I was just ecstatic, just excited beyond belief. And IDW had acquired the rights to Doctor Who, which IDW is an American based company. And a friend of mine happened to be drawing G.I. Joe for them. And I was like, I begged him, I was like, will you please introduce me to the editor at IDW who does Doctor Who? And he goes, sure. So I met with the editor. He liked my artwork. It was fine. He goes, but we're booked up for the next year with Doctor Who stuff. I was like, well, I don't care. I'm just a massive Doctor Who fan, and I will wait a year. I just want to fill an issue, a cover, just something because I want to be involved in Doctor Who because I've been a fan of it so long. He goes, it's going to be a year. Fine. A month after San Diego Comic Con, I get an email from the editor saying, knock, knock, opportunity.
Ooh,
And so
just
now,
a month
since
later.
about a month later after San Diego. So it was just sometimes, having the talent, but then just being able to talk to people, just the basic skills of communication and just being nice to people. And it just, so I've been working on Doctor Who on and off basically since about 2007.
So, what have you done for Doctor Who?
Now, specifically for comic books, I started doing a couple of fill-in issues. My first issue was the Forgotten #4, and that had a pretty tight deadline on it and everything. And at that time, they still didn't have all the reference. Like at this point now, Doctor Who, I have thousands and thousands of images for reference, which is great. But back in 2007, they didn't have that much. So it was really, so it was kind of a little bit of a daunting task to do this Forgotten. That was written by Tony Lee, a fantastic 6-part series that involved all 10 doctors up to that point. So again, I was able to step in and work on issue 4. And then the regular artist had some issues, family issues. So I was able to step back in with issue 6 and fill in with that. And so those were kind of my first 2 issues. Then I got a couple one shots and things like that. And I started getting involved in doing a lot of Doctor Who covers, and doing those covers kind of got me noticed by the right people and everything. I definitely think one of the highlights of my IDW era was they had for the 50th anniversary, IDW did a 12-part series called The Prisoners of Time. And so they had basically a different artist work on different issues. So each artist, so all 12 issues have a different artist, and the first issue is the first Doctor, the second issue is the second Doctor, third, and so on down the line. So we get to issue 12, it's all the Doctors and all the companions. And honestly, I didn't think I was going to get to work on it because I've seen all these people being solicited and everything. And I was at the comic book store and I got an email from the editor. I was literally, I think I had like issue 9 in my hand, or issue 9 had just come out. I was like, well, I guess I'm not going to get to work on it. I got an email from the editor. So, do you want to work on issue 11 or 12 of Prisoners of Time? And I'm like, well, issue 12, all the Doctors, all the companions. So, and then unfortunately, at that point, fortunately, unfortunately, I guess it depends on how you look at it. IDW had lost the license to Doctor Who.
Oh, no.
Yeah, so it was kind of like, oh, all these relationships I built up with people and everything. And so that was the big, and it happened while I was at San Diego in 2013? Would have been 2013. So I was out at San Diego Comic-Con when all this broke and everything. So there were rumors, Dark Horse is going to get it, Boom is going to get it, Titan's going to get it. So everybody was trying to figure out who was getting the license. And again, this is a case of talking to people, and I tell this to people all the time, just being a nice person and your communication skills and being able to articulate and just, be a human and have communication skills. And that, I happened to be talking to some people at Titan when I was walking around, and a gentleman by the name of Andrew Sumner he's the VP of marketing. He's like, mate, we love your stuff. Stay in touch with us. So he gave me an idea. He didn't confirm it, but about a year later, I was able to step in and start doing a lot more stuff. And I've done a lot of covers for the Titan side of the business, and I just love being a part of it. I can't get enough of it.
And Titan made toys.
Yes.
How did you get involved with the toy line?
It's oh my goodness, it's been great. So I've always kind of geared myself. I've done a couple of toys design over the years, Spider-Man toys, this. So I have experience doing toys throughout my career, but I was more focused on the comic book aspect. I was like, that's what I do, covers and stuff like that.
Right.
But what happened specifically is, again, it was Andrew Sumner. Andrew's like, Kelly, we have a meeting with Hot Topic tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. And I'm getting an email from them like at 6 o'clock at night. This is just how these things roll sometimes. So they had a meeting at Hot Topic the next morning, and they're like, we need you to draw the 10th Doctor in this kawaii style, manga style and everything, in front of the TARDIS. And I started from scratch, and in about 3 hours, I had this nice little kawaii, anime-looking Doctor, 10th Doctor in front of the TARDIS. They loved it. They went to Hot Topic. Hot Topic loved it and everything. So then they're like, well, hey, this is great. We want to put this on a T-shirt and everything. So then, which they did, or I think they did. And then they came back to me and like, hey, they loved it so much they want to do, at that time, all 12 Doctors on a T-shirt and everything, in this little kawaii design and everything. So this was great. And it actually funneled over to me doing a lot of T-shirt designs and stuff like that for the BBC booth at San Diego Comic-Con. So that kind of took me up a little bit more up the notch, recognized by the BBC and everything. But to step back a little bit, so these shirts were doing so well at Hot Topic. Andrew came back to me and said, like, Kelly, we want to make toys out of these and everything. I'm like, well, okay, well, what do we do? Where do we start? So we had to figure out the body shape and, the big head, the small body and everything. So it was really just kind of going back and forth with them and working with the 3D team to figure out. And, we did a wave of Doctors and everything. And I have the 10th Doctor one myself that I love so much. Yeah. So it's just kind of these, doing one thing led to the next thing, and that's kind of where I am. And so, this has led to other toy designs, some I can talk about, some I can't talk about at this point.
Right.
So
I was going to ask you, what are you working on now?
So, well, I will, as you alluded to earlier, this kind of led to the Doctor Who toys sold so well and had such a positive response. that it kind of became, Titan approached me about doing My Hero Academia toys and
Mhm.
everything. And honestly, I've never been a huge fan, not a fan. I've not consumed as much anime as probably some of the younger people that might be watching this and everything. I did grow up watching some Gotcha Men and
Uh-huh.
My Goddess and Giant Robo years ago and everything. And I mean, it's been on my periphery. So I was like, well, let me check out this My Hero Academia just so at least I know what I'm designing. And man, I fell in love with it. so,
Right. So
so
we
I'm
have the
now,
comics.
yeah, so I'm now actually awaiting the season 5 coming out, I guess, within the next year or so. I have not taken the time to read the manga yet.
Right.
I stay very busy, but I have interest in doing it. So I designed this first wave of My Hero Academia figures, and it has done phenomenal. Honestly, it's done very, very well for them, which would probably lead to some more if I'm,
In what kind of genre?
well, actually, more My Heroes, My Hero
Okay.
Academia. So hope I can't make an official announcement, but there will probably be some more coming out. Um, and then there might be some other anime lines that I'm working on, and that's about as much as I can say. And I think when they start making the announcements, you'll be impressed by what it is, and I'm impressed by the volume of work. So I haven't been posting so much comic book stuff lately because I've been so busy doing a lot of toy designs.
So is this your full-time job?
Here's the dirty little secret, and people they don't like to talk about it. I like to be honest with it because I would love to do comic books and toy designs full time, but I kind of keep it as a part time. I call it paying hobby per se,
Uh-huh.
because I actually do have a full time job because I do like to pay a mortgage. I do like to
Mhm.
have vacations. I like to put food on the table for my family. So I actually work full time in Greensboro for Contour Brands, which Contour. I'm a graphic designer, a senior graphic designer at Contour. Contour owns basically Lee Jeans and Wrangler Jeans. So
The advertising?
I do a little bit of everything, yeah, the advertising, the marketing department and everything.
Okay.
So doing design, ticket designs, point of sale designs, renderings, everything in between. So whatever you'd imagine a graphic designer doing, I do a lot of art directing with things. So that's my full-time job, and I love doing that. But honestly, my passion is comic books and toy designs and stuff like that. It's just honestly, it can be tough to make a full-time job out of it sometimes
Uh-huh.
because let's just say that I was doing it to go back to the IDW stuff. If I've been relying on IDW full time and then that license get yanked away, I've lost everything. So it's just kind of over this time. It's good to have a backup and everything. So,
What kind of education did you get to get the job that you got? What kind
uh,
what was your degree?
so, well, so I went to school 6 years for a 2 year degree because I didn't know what I wanted to do.
Who does?
So for those people who know exactly what they want to do, congratulations. You're way ahead of me and maybe a lot of people.
This
Um,
is my third career.
yeah. Basically, I started at Elon College my first year because I was a big football guy. I actually played football in high school. I loved it. And then I got to college and quickly found out that that was not the path that I was supposed to take. So that was kind of that. And I ended up at UNCG and I studied exercise sports science for about 3.5 years. And again, I'm like, this is not what I'm supposed to do. So I ended up at Guilford Technical Community College in Jamestown, North Carolina. Now, this was about 93 through 95. And I was like, so I'd been doodling a little bit. I would not say I was like a major artist at the time and everything. I still think I have so much to grow as an artist, but I knew how to draw a little bit. I doodled, copy comic books and everything. I did not know how to turn on a computer in '93. I didn't. I had no experience with the computer, so I'm sitting in my first computer class, and the guy's like, "Okay, well, let's do this, do that." I was like, "Can you tell me how to turn on the computer?" So,
Oh,
so
do you now do art on the computer?
I do now. I work almost exclusively 100% digital now. I do a traditional from time to time, some painting, some inking, but I went to Guilford Tech and they taught me how to make a living as an artist, how to invoice people, how to took a couple of life drawing classes. I learned Photoshop and Illustrator and all these programs that have benefited me throughout my career. So I have a 2-year associate's degree in commercial art and computer graphics, and I will fully support the community art system or the technical schools because they teach you how to make a living.
What kind of computer set do you prefer to use in programs?
Yeah, so I have a Mac desktop. I know some people use a PC, and that's fine. It depends. But I've used Mac since '93. So, and actually, I've been using Photoshop since I think the second version.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I use it as well.
yeah,
We
um,
have to get special permission to get it on our computers at work.
yeah, it's a great program. It's a great program.
It is.
So I use a Mac. I have a drawing tablet to my side here. It's a Wacom tablet that I have on tilted on a thing I can put my lap to work on whenever I need. You don't necessarily need that, but if that's where things are moving, there's a lot of art studios don't even have actual pencils in them anymore. It's all digital. It's all
Right.
digital, and they email it to the next person down the line. So, but I use a combination of things. I actually use Photoshop for coloring and all that. Some of you might be familiar with Clip Studio Paint. It's actually a manga-based drawing program. It's a Japanese program.
Oh.
It's actually, you can find it on sale for like $100 sometimes. I love it and fully support it. I mean, it's Clip Paint Studio, and you can lay out a whole comic book in this program. So you can draw 20 pages of a book and like, oh, I don't remember how I drew this character on page 5. Let me go back and grab that panel real quick and copy it over to page 18 and draw it real quick. It's just so, I'm not gonna say it's 100% intuitive because I think the program's actually gotten a lot better because I think it was Japanese based and everything at first. And now they realize there's this huge English audience that's consuming this product and everything. But again, it's programmed for like $100 and that's it. I mean, it's fantastic. So Photoshop, Clip Paint Studio.
So you go to a lot of conventions to advertise yourself. Do you enjoy that? How did that work into your life?
I love it and I miss it. And I was talking to my wife about how much I miss the social interactions because so many of the people that I'm friends with on Facebook or Instagram or anything are people I met at conventions. And I always love inspiring people too. I love being inspired. I'm gonna slide my computer a little bit. On this wall over here is artists that I have, and those are the people that inspire me. I surround myself with inspiration, and I hope that I can inspire people too. But I just love the convention experience. I've met so many great people over the years and everything, and now during this pandemic, that's thrown a monkey wrench into all of it. And I don't know when we're going to get back up to speed, unfortunately, but. It's so great. I've just met so many wonderful people and learned so many things and collected so many things. And so,
do you try and make it like monthly, or how often do you go?
I would say during a normal year, I have to find a balance because, like I talked about, I do have a full-time job, and I have a family. I have 3 kids, and I kind of like them. And I like to spend time with them, so I have to find a balance with all of this. So I usually probably do about 10 conventions, about one a month, maybe a little bit less than one a month and everything. And, you can really get burned out. So you got to kind of pick and choose the ones you feel that are right and everything. One like I said, I always pick out is San Diego Comic-Con. And it's changed. It's people call it corporate con now. It really isn't. Well, it is because that's where people are who make the decisions. Marvel, DC, IDW, Titan, Dark Horse. If you want to work in comic books, well, you kind of got to be where the corporate people are,
Right.
and you got to meet them.
Yeah.
So, I would say that 99% of my work, my freelance comic work, has come from going to San Diego Comic-Con and meeting people.
Right. Networking is crucial for the business.
Yeah.
I have some questions.
Absolutely. Oh, but real quick about conventions.
Okay, go ahead.
There's a lot of great conventions. If you're in North Carolina here, you probably know this. Heroes Con in Charlotte, North Carolina, usually Father's Day weekend. If you're in the South Carolina area, Borderland Comics, they have a convention called South Carolina Comic Con. It's usually about March or April, something like that. probably sure there's some others slipping in my mind, but those are ones that immediately pop into my head. So
North Carolina, Fayetteville.
Fayetteville, yeah, they're supposed to have one in October. I haven't heard anything if they're on or off yet or anything. So, but that's a great show as well in the Fayetteville area. You're right.
And GalaxyCon, the one that comes to Raleigh.
Raleigh, yeah, GalaxyCon's in Raleigh, and sometimes they're up in the Richmond area if you happen to be in that area.
That's where I was in Richmond. Was the last con I went to in February, right before everything shut down.
Yes, yes, yes. I was there. I was meeting the voice actors from My Hero Academia.
Oh, nice! I was there for Smallville.
Yeah, and I was actually giving them their figures. They were so excited about it. They were just like, "What? You designed these?" I'm like, "Yeah," you know. So it's always kind of neat to connect with people like that sometimes.
Have you ever met any of the Doctor Who's that you could have given theirs to?
Yes, yes. I've actually I've met. Let's see. I've met Peter Davison, Sylvester McCoy, Colin Baker. I keep getting close to David Tennant. We keep doing this thing, and I was actually supposed to meet him in New York like 2 years ago, and it kind of fell through. And I flew home and everything, and I get home from the airport and get in my car, and I get this text from the person who was going to connect us, and it's like, "Hey, David's ready to meet you. We're anytime, anywhere." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
Oh
no! So I didn't get to meet him, but Matt Smith was standing behind me one time, about 10 feet behind me at a party, and I didn't know because he had his head shaved. It was right after.
After Terminator, right?
Yeah, Terminator. You're right. Yeah, or was it the Ryan Reynolds movie? It might have been Terminator.
Could have been.
Yeah. I haven't met Peter Capaldi, but I have met Jodie Whittaker, and I actually met her at San Diego at her first appearance at the BBC booth and some stuff like that. So yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Have you ever gone to Dragon Con?
I do go to Dragon Con. Just another big show, and it's just I know how to navigate San Diego because I've done it so long.
Right.
Dragon Con is just its own different beast and everything. It's just with the hotel.
All these different buildings, and you have to walk everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, it really is. If you go to a panel, you have to walk like 30 minutes before you get there. So, and I know you got to get questions. I tell you a John Barrowman story for those who.
Oh, please do.
So I think it was my first time setting up at Dragon Con. And you get your name badge has what panels you're on. So on Thursday I have this panel and everything with wherever. So I go to the panel. There's like 200 people in there, and I get in there, and it's me and Carol Barrowman, John's sister, and everything. And it is painfully obvious that the 200 people in there are there to see her and hear about John's stories and everything. So she had these great over-the-top stories like kissing David Tennant and this and that. And I was like, I can't compete with this, So, so I had to play the straight guy to her. But anyway, so as the panel goes on, she starts getting me to chime in about giving John a hard time about stuff. Oh, John's a jerk, and she gets me to chime in and do all this too. We get to the end of the panel, and the moderator goes, "Oh boy." I'm like, "Oh boy, what? What's going on?" He goes, "I think John's in here with us." Sure enough, John had been laying on the floor the entire time in the back of the room, hiding from everybody. He pops up and gets the microphone and turns it on us and gives us a hard time for about 10, 15 minutes and everything. And it was just like, oh. So I got ambushed by John. So it was cool.
He's a sweetheart, though.
Oh, he was absolutely a sweetheart, but definitely on the spot. Yeah.
I love your Torchwood. Did you do some Torchwood covers?
I did do a few Torchwood covers. I sure did. Yeah. That was great. And actually, John owns one of the original covers. So.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
So tell me about the My Chemical Romance action figure on Hot Topic.
Oh yeah, actually,
how did that come about?
Titan Entertainment gets these opportunities sometimes to do things like this, and I think Titan has a very good relationship with Hot Topic, so they look for opportunities like this, and they're like, "Well, Kelly, do you want to design it?" I'm like, "Bring it on, let's do it," and everything. So there's been some fun things like that, like little one-off characters. I know we've done some little specials for San Diego Comic-Con, like I don't have them in front of me, but the My Hero Academia 2-packs and stuff like that. But yeah, the My Chemical Romance, that was just a fun kind of completely side job that has done very well, actually. So
Do they have a comic book, or is it just to promote the band?
it was just to promote the band.
That's
That's
great.
it. It was just that one random figure, but it did. And it's funny because when I posted that, everybody flipped out because it wasn't Doctor Who. You have all these music people. They're just like, they're fans of the toys and fans of the band. So it was just like this.
So we've got a couple of questions.
Yes.
Sam, 10 years old, would like to know, who is your favorite Doctor?
Well, I think I love Matt Smith's zaniness. I think David Tennant is incredible. I think Jodie Whittaker will start to develop it to become a great Doctor. But I will always say Tom Baker, the fourth Doctor, because that's who I grew up with. That was my, you know, it's yes. It's almost universally true. There's some people it's not, but it's usually the first Doctor they've seen on TV, or the first Doctor that got them into it and everything. And Tom Baker, that's who I'll always say and everything is my favorite. So
I love Tom and Peter Davison. Peter Davison and his time team are probably my favorite.
yeah, well, that's the crazy great thing about Doctor Who is when I can say Tom Baker, but then I start watching Peter Davison, I'm like, man, I really like this about him. Or watch Christopher Eccleston. It's like, man, I really like this about him. So that's the great thing that kind of it's like the desktop theme changed, but it's still the same show.
Yeah, I wanted to thank you for doing. You did a comic book cover maybe of all the Doctors and most of the companions. And Adric was sitting in the middle with the.
Yeah.
I want to thank you for that, because I do love Adric so much, even though he's universally not everybody's favorite. He was my favorite.
Well, he was. I don't. As a kid, when I was watching him, I liked him. I don't remember him being too. I know people as an adult now are like, "Oh, Adric and everything," but I remember the episode Earthshock, and when I don't want to reveal it for anybody who hasn't seen it yet. But this Earthshock had Cybermen, and they did something I never had seen in a quote kids show before. And I remember it shocked me so much. But it was funny because when Titan approached me about doing that, like, we want to have like all the Doctors in an atrium, kind of like mimicking the Beatles cover where they're looking down and everything. I was like, well, let me play with this idea a little bit and everything. And that's why I kind of did it on these tiers of the TARDIS, because it was so many characters. I put, that's one of those ones that the pay doesn't equal the amount of work you put into it. And it's not about the pay at that point. It's more about the passion and like, well, I got to get all these characters in here and I want to do it right.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I put a lot of work into it, a lot of referencing, a lot of research went into that. Ended up being a t-shirt design. I have prints of it, and I think it was on like some mugs or things like that. But it's when I put that on my table at a convention, 99% of the time it stops people. They're like, "Oh, what is that?" And I'll start looking like, "Oh, there's my favorite. There's my favorite. No,
there's my favorite." Exactly.
Yeah. So,
well, thank you for putting Adric on it.
Absolutely.
Sam would also like to know, who is the hardest Doctor to draw?
It might sound weird, but I actually find David Tennant can be a little hard to draw sometimes. Just kind of getting the right eye shapes and everything, the right, what is, and that's the key thing about it. Like when you draw Matt Smith and everything, you might not see it or might not notice it, but he has this crease line that goes across his forehead. And when you draw that in there, it seals his face. It makes it look right. When it's not in there, it looks a little flat and everything, but it's there. And when you see it drawn, it's like, oh, okay. It's something you don't normally see, but it adds so much detail to that character.
And another question from Chenille, where can we buy your toys?
Well, right now, you can buy it at Hot Topic, if you can ever get out. I think they have some online still. I know the BBC shop has some of the Doctor Who toys still in there. So Hot Topic, BBC shop, and Forbidden Planet. If you happen to be in the UK, I think the Forbidden Planet has the US based thing too. So go check out Forbidden Planet. So
they've gotten some of my money over the years.
Yes. It's going to be interesting to see. Again, I'm not going to speak directly to business, but it'll be interesting to see where we start seeing them in the future. I think we'll start seeing them in more places, and I think we'll start seeing more different designs of different things coming out.
So, what are you excited for in the world of Doctor Who?
Um, like I said, the toy design's been consuming a lot of my time. I'm seeing this Time Lords Victorious that's coming out. I'm not 100% sure what everything is going on. There's a lot of books. There's going to be toys with it and everything. And honestly, I'm not involved in it at this point, or any honestly. But I would love to start doing Doctor Who covers again, doing some of that illustration stuff. It's just a matter of taking the time, transitioning, getting some projects done so I can transition back to comic books and everything. So, but looking forward to the Time Lord Victoria stuff. Looks interesting.
What's in your future? What are you working on?
So, in between my full-time job, toy designs, so I've actually slowly but surely been working on my second creator-owned book called Monster, and it's Mother. So Monster.
Right.
So I'm about 4 books in. I have it on, part of it's on Comixology right now.
Comixology.
Yeah. So Monster. It's just a slow process. It's not. I'm not lazy at all. I've actually work all the time. So it's just a matter of finding time. So Monster is one, and I hope to finish that up. My other creator-owned book that came out in 2008 through Image Comics was called Amber Adams.
We had some of that artwork put up.
Yeah, so kind of like female Flash Gordon is the kind of the most simple thing. And unfortunately, it could not have come out at a worse time. 2008, the recession was hitting.
The recession happened.
And everything got hit. Everything got hit. Kind of an interesting side note to that is actually when the book came out, I was contacted by a producer in Hollywood, and he was interested in developing it as a movie with Miley Cyrus. So
wow.
It obviously never happened, but it was fun for a couple months to talk about it and think about it and wishful thinking and everything. So I think what I've done, the 4 issues of Amber Adams came out. I did a 5th one that didn't get published but got released digitally. So what I'm thinking long term is I'm going to do issue 6 and maybe put out a collected trade paperback. So some of the people who might have missed it 12 years ago can now pick up like all the first 6 issues. So it's just, I've got plans. It's just getting to that point.
Cool. We'll buy it as soon as it comes out.
Yeah. Great.
So Monster is what you're working on right now?
Yeah. It's going to be about 80 pages. I'm over half done with it. It's kind of a girl who lives in a halfway house for monsters. It's monsters who used to be human and they're trying to become human again. So that's kind of the take on it and everything.
You said some issues are out already?
Yeah, I have the first 3 out on Comixology, digital only at this time.
Digital only.
Yeah. It's tricky trying to figure out this whole new distribution. Do you go digital first? Do you go print first? Do you go digital next? Which one do you do? So we're all kind of figuring that out.
Do they do print on demand?
I know you can do that through Amazon.
Right.
I don't have anything set up like that yet because I kind of want to get a little bit more product done. And so I can kind of because I want to get that completed as a trade and put it on print on demand and everything. So
that sounds so exciting.
Yay. I'm excited about it. It's just, doing the other jobs to get to that point. So.
And you're still working with Titan on something we don't know yet.
Yes. Yes.
I can't wait for that either.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you want to let us know? I know you're on, you have a website, kellyyatesart.com.
Yes.
You're also on Facebook.
Mm-hmm. I have an Art of Kelly Yates on Facebook, and then I have an Instagram account at @KellyYates_art.
Instagram, maybe Twitter.
Oh yeah, Twitter too. Yeah. So, same handle. Yeah.
So the Art of Kelly Yates.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Is there anything you want to let us know about?
Well, I will tell you this. When we talk about conventions and everything, when people come up and talk to me and they want to, they ask my advice on, how to get into comic books or what to do and everything. And again, what we've kind of talked about here is networking. Networking is crucial. Meeting the right people, the right place, the right time. That's probably the almost number one thing. The really number one thing is draw, draw, and draw. That's it. You know, I can tell you like I have this magical computer or I have this. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter if you're digital or if you have a regular 2H pencil in your hand. If you want to become an artist or some type of creator, do that thing. Draw and draw and draw. If you're a writer, write, write, and write. That's the only way you get better, and that's how you get published.
Thank you so much, Kelly Yates, for joining us today.
Absolutely.
It's been a real pleasure.
Well, it's a pleasure. Thank you very much for your time and having me on.
Thank you so much.
Okay, great.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Are we good?
We're good?
Oh, we're still on.
Okay.
Bye. Gotcha. Next up, we're going to have story time for the young ones and some crafts, and we're going to announce our costume contest. So look out for those videos in the next hour and a half. At 2 o'clock, we're going to have Mark Ryan. So please stay tuned for that. He's our featured guest. 2 o'clock, Mark Ryan, voice of Bumblebee and Jetfire and Lockdown from Transformers. He was also in Black Sails and Robin of Sherwood. Hi, welcome to PopCon. We're back, and we're going. We originally were having PopCon live and in person like we did last year, but because of the COVID, we decided to make it all virtual. One of the guests that we were going to have is the Knights of the Fiat Lux. So we're going to share with you a video of them right now. They're a medieval reenactment group, and they do live steel fighting. It's safe though, they wear protection, but we're going to play a video of the Knights of the Fiat Lux for you right now.
And defend yourself! Oh! Gentlemen, lay on! Lay on!
Oh!
Oh! Lay on! Come on! The louder you cheer, the harder lay on!
Preston, I got your back over here.
I don't know what it was, but Sir Preston liked it. And it doesn't matter what it was because he only needed 1 point. Sir Victor is the victor. Who could have seen it coming?
Gentlemen, lay on. Oh! Another shot to the leg. 5, 4. Gentlemen, defend yourselves. Oh! Lay on. Oh! Defend yourselves. Oh! I'm gonna go out simultaneous. Sorry, gentlemen. Lay on! Oh! Oh, let's say that headshot was in there. Smash! Hurrah! All right. Now remember, Victor, you got this nice big target area. All right. Gentlemen, salute your honorable opponent. You, sir. Salute this wonderful crowd. Thank you, folks. Without you, we would not be here. Now, gentlemen, kill something. Ah! Come on. To you guys, I gotta explain this. Each other. Sorry, too many headshots.
Welcome. I hope you enjoyed that. Next year, we are going to have some awesome live events. And I hope you stick with us because we're going to have at 1 o'clock, we're going to start Children's Programming Hour. We're going to have some exciting story times that you can also find on our YouTube. And as soon as this day is over, we will post the links to all of the sites that we've talked about today, the computer programs that we've talked about. We'll try and post a detailed list of everything you've heard about today. If you're interested in 3D programming or graphic art or podcasting, we will have all the information for you later next week. And I hope you're enjoying our programming today. We have some really exciting things coming up. At 1 o'clock, we're going to have story time and crafts with the kids. And about 1:45, we're going to start the costume contest. You're going to see all the entries and we'll announce the winners. We have some really exciting prizes today. The prizes are, we had Mark Ryan. We actually sent him, he's over in Europe. We sent him some items for him to sign and he sent them back. So the winners will get autographs from Mark Ryan for the costume contest. We have some really exciting entries and we hope you stay tuned. At 2 o'clock, Mark Ryan's going to be talking to us live. So remember to come on and ask those questions We have a few from Mark Ryan, and Mark Ryan's going to have some guest question askers, the Knights of the Fiat Lux. So please stay tuned. It's going to be an exciting afternoon. We also have Dan Johnson and his friends from Golden Kid Comics. They're going to end our day at 3 o'clock, so please stay tuned to learn more about how to write graphic novels and comics. You can do that even if you live in a non-metropolitan area. You can write and draw and get your stuff out there. There's all kinds of methods to do it, so please stay tuned and listen to how our artists are getting into the business. Most of our artists are local. Kelly Yates, Chip Sutter, and Dan Johnson, they're all from North Carolina. You could be just like them, so please, if you're inspired to write or draw, please get your stuff out there. Start going to cons and network. I know it's difficult right now, but soon we'll be able to get out and we'll be able to meet each other again. And I hope you're enjoying this day. So my costume today is Faith. Oh, I got a green screen problem. There we go. Faith is the first plus size superhero, and she's very body positive in these days, and we love that it's not even an issue in the comics. So we have all of the Faith graphic novels at the library. We also have the graphic novels of some of our guests. We have The Jungle Book by Dan Johnson. And later today, you'll see Mark Ryan. We have his memoir on our shelves. If you want to check it out, he's fascinating. I will have no problems talking to this guy for an hour. This is his memoir. It's called Hold Fast. And this is his memoir. The comic books that he wrote are not on our shelves yet, but hopefully soon. And he does have a book on tarot that we also have on our shelves. It's called Wild Magic. You can find this on our shelves at Lee County Library. This is our guest, Mark Ryan. Mark Ryan has been in many movies. He was in The Prestige. He was in the first, I think he's been in all of the Transformers as voices. He did Bumblebee, Jetfire, and Lockdown. Jetfire is one of my favorites. That was in the second movie, which was The Fallen, Revenge of the Fallen. My favorite Transformers movie. He was also in Black Sails, Mr. Gates. This is a wonderful series for adults. It's about pirates. It's kind of like the Game of Thrones for pirates, Black Sails. And this is his comic book called The Pilgrim. It will be coming out soon. It's a Kickstarter right now. It's just about to be published. This is the first issue. The one that's being made on Kickstarter is a completed version. This is #1. It came out a couple of years ago. A signed copy of this is going to be one of the prizes for our costume contest. He also did Green Arrow several years ago. This is also a signed copy. It's going to be one of our prizes for the comic book contest. The costume contest. And I first saw Mark Ryan in a show called Robin of Sherwood. He played Zir. Robin of Sherwood had 2 different Robin Hoods, the first one and the second one. And Nazir is this character right here. He was one of Robin Hood's merry men. He was a Moor. He was the first Moor ever introduced into the series. The character was created by Kip Carpenter, and Mark Ryan played him. He later inspired, because Kevin Costner watched the show, he actually thought that a Moor had always been in Robin Hood. So he added a Moor to his Robin Hood, and that's the inspiration for Azine, played by Morgan Freeman. And since then, there's almost always been a character of Arabic descent in the series. The character of Nazir has inspired a whole new revolution of the Robin Hood legend and a broadening of the horizons of the show. It's Robin of Sherwood is on our shelves. You can check this out. This is a Blu-ray copy, but we also have the original copy of the entire season. It was made in the 80s, and it's a wonderful adventure. If you like the Robin Hood series, you should check it out. Mark Ryan also did sword fighting and sword mastery. He worked on King Arthur and First Knight. He had a cameo in First Knight, as well as helping with the sword fighting. So he was a fight choreographer for both of these films, which are on our shelves at Lee County Library as well. Story time? What? Stay tuned for story time. Stay tuned for story time. It's coming up soon. So please stay with us.